Stay on the podcast.
All right. Hey, everybody. How we doing? Good. Yeah. It's 3 p.m. on a Saturday. Yeah. Welcome to Pony Beats. We are still waiting on, I think, Evdog, and we've invited Rock Fox to also come up. So if you see either of them, force them to come up here. No, we can't find them anywhere, but we'll give it a couple of minutes before we kick off, and then we'll go from there. Okay. All right, we're going to get things underway. So yeah, we are missing a couple of people, but they may join us a little bit later. Be sure to tell everyone that this panel's on.
Because tweet your friends.
Yeah. Hashtag AliCon 2019. Yeah. Okay, so welcome to Pony Beats. This is the panel where we're going to go and explore the music side of the fandom. Obviously, all of these guys are going to be at Trot On tonight, the concert, so get very hyped for that. It's going to be an awesome night. We were testing the speakers out last night, and it's going to be a very loud event, so just prepare for that. But I'll let each of these amazing artists introduce themselves, and we'll go from there.
Start with L-Train. You're doing my job for me. Yeah, go on.
Hi, I'm L-Train.
Yo! Woo! Yeah.
What do you do? What do you play?
I do metal about ponies, and I also do symphonic metal operas, which is really just a fancy name for a rock opera, but you turn the guitar up too loud.
So I am Francis Vace. I do ska and rock, but tonight I'm going to be doing a folk acoustic-y set.
We need more of those, honestly. I'm Odyssey. People know me as Eurobeat Brony. I basically just nightcore Italo disco for the fandom. And I did that one song that the other guy did better. Cell phones are the ones I picked the most.
I'm Faulty. I make house music and a bit of electro stuff and run all the music channels and stuff these days. Yeah.
And he also runs all the sound for this convention too.
And the lighting.
He's doing it right now.
He's doing it
I'm doing it right now, live on stage.
I like how none of you mentioned Ponies at Dawn.
Well, I kind of did. I run the Pros at Dawn channel. I'll talk about that later.
Okay. I thought we'd get started and kind of delve into how we began with pony music, and how we started with the fandom, and maybe where it goes from there. So we'll go straight around again. So we'll go Chan, like how did you start making pony music in general?
You really did.
So what am I starting?
How did you get into the music?
The music
pony
scene.
The music side. I think that was a while ago now. So this is around 2012.
Woo!
And yeah, first got into the fandom. I saw a bunch of, like everyone here, I saw a bunch of things online. I was like, oh, what's this show? I should check it out. And then a day later, after watching the entire season, you're like, oh, okay, now this now. But anyway, so I think it was after Bronafied. Anyone remember that guy?
Yeah.
He did a metal medley, and like, that's really cool. I should do something like that. And yeah, from there I just started doing excessively loud songs about ponies, and yeah, just rolled on from there, I guess.
I think that like the way I got into ponies was the same as a lot of people. It's just you see stuff online, it's like, why? And then you watch it and you're like, oh, that's why. And then like after I got into it, I was like, oh, I want to make something creative.
References.
Yeah. And I tried to do electronic music for a while because it seemed like that's what you did if you wanted to make pony music, and I wasn't very good at it. So I was like, oh, let's try that thing that I've been doing like already for a couple of years, and I started to make more kind of rock and punk songs, and I was definitely better at that than the electronic music. So I stuck with it, and that's kind of what I've been doing.
Kind of starts on a downer. My grandpa was taken from us by pretty blatant and severe malpractice, and turned towards cartoons and animation to cope. And I kept seeing people talk about, oh, don't mind me, on my way to page 10, and it was from the new MLP. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird. No, really, like, no, come on up. You're one of us now.
Macro, what are you doing?
Oh, wait.
Welcome Rock Fox to the stage.
Oh, coming down the middle.
Wait, hang on. Okay, are we doing
You're on this panel.
Yeah, you're on this panel now.
Come on up. You are. Come on up.
You are now. buttons music, right?
Well.
Rock Fox of Ponyville.
Well, you don't have to MIDI, anything's possible.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hold up, my bad. Should be on now.
hello.
Yes.
Hey, there we go. So, got into the show, and then someone was asking for like, hey, I need the vocals removed from Evil Enchantress. Tried, failed, I'm like, I'll throw some kind of remix together. I don't know if they cared, but then I did it, and then that was like the first documented Brony music thing to exist. So, like, oops.
I got into the fandom. I obviously found old mate Archie's remix of becoming popular, and then number 2. Alright, brought up. Okay, it should be good. Is that 2 or 1? 2. Okay. Yeah, so I got into. That was how I found the fandom in 2011. Was just through the music, and I kind of listened to that for like 3 years without even watching the show. And then when I got into it, I was like, oh, maybe I'll start doing some remixes and stuff myself. And, yeah, it's been fun in a sense.
I'll bounce that question back to Rock Fox and Evdog, who have just joined us. Like, just tell us what sort of music you make or what you do in the fandom, and how you got started with pony music.
Hey, so I'm Rock Fox. I'm a DJ. I'm not a producer, so I only play other people's music. What got me into the fandom was him, Alex S remix of Luna. I heard that on some like dodgy Russian downloading music website, and I'm like, oh my god, what is this? I have to check this guy out. And yeah, pretty much that happened. And then I saw him play. I saw a stream of him playing at Everfree, and I thought, oh, I want to do that. I want to be on stage. So yeah, that's pretty much how I got into the fandom.
Yeah, so I'm Evdog, everyone. I previously to Ponies was trying to make video game remixes on a site called OC Remix. I'm not sure if you've heard it?
I'm familiar, yeah.
Oh, sweet. And I wasn't very successful. But then Ponies came along, and I saw people like you and people like Alex S and Tombstone and things like that. And I thought, yeah, I could do this as well. And so I started just putting stuff up onto YouTube and finding there was a website called My Little Remix, which was like a forum, and they had our IRC chat, and then they also moved to Skype for a while, and you just ended up joining those communities and chatting with other people and finding out, oh, a lot of these people that I'm seeing, all this work from them and looking up to them, they're just like me. They can laugh, they can joke, they can meme, and over time you just get more comfortable and get more involved with all the other musicians there. Feel good. Yeah.
Awesome. So I think I wanted to explore and kind of ask, for those of you who were doing music before Ponies, how did your, followers or fans or even friends and family find it when you started making music about colourful little equines? Is there any sort of shock reaction or anything along those lines?
I guess I'll start this time. I played in bands most of my life before ponies were a thing in my life, so I didn't really advertise anywhere. It was just local gigs. So all my band members, ex-band members, were a bit weirded out when I was telling them about all the ponies and all that fun stuff. And I'm like, yeah, we should make a song together. And then the band kind of split up. So yeah, that was fun.
I grew up in a musical family. Dad plays bass, mom plays piano, etc., etc. And yes, we've heard so many Partridge Family jokes, which you probably said them before you do. So I'd already done some stuff that appeared in like Initial D and some stuff on the Super Eurobeat series. But fans and like folks that were already listening before didn't seem too thrown off. And my family first were like, "Hey, we're not sure what this is," but then like, "Oh, this is popular. All right, you're enjoying yourself. You don't seem to be." Unhygienic or doing anything that involves like, mauling people to death. Carry on. My parents were surprised that I actually watched the show, at which point, my mom was actually surprised that I watched the show. And they're like, well, yeah. And at the time I said, well, yeah, how else would I know if there was no music coming out? But that was kind of putting the horse before the carriage for the party. But yeah, a little bit of shock, but nothing too wild.
I think that it's odd how similar my story is to Faulty's. I was in a band and we were playing locally, but never really advertising it too much online. And then I started getting into ponies, and then I somehow convinced them to play PonyCon AU 2015 with me, and then we broke up. So that's how it is.
I feel your pain, bro.
I mean, I have a similar story, except my band broke up before I got into ponies, so it's kind of less of an exciting story.
I wasn't a musician before Pony, so I actually have never had fans before then. What's interesting now is actually sort of playing in clubs and that sort of thing, and people come up to me and be like, your stuff's a bit fishy, like I can see there's ponies on your profile, what's that all about? I'm like, well, you know, in between dropping all the hard stuff, I'll put ponies in there every now and again, and people are like, oh, okay, that's a bit weird. But yeah.
I think we can all learn a lesson that your band's going to break up if you join a fandom. For me, I had a YouTube channel and at the time, and I had less than 100 subscribers at the time, so nobody really made a big fuss for me. And if they unsubscribed, I don't know. But yeah, generally most of my fans have been from the My Little Pony fandom, so yeah.
Awesome. And I guess if what I wanted to ask is if you were doing, say, a regular gig, do you guys still chuck in pony music? Say something outside of the fandom, you still play Pony Zone in there?
Yeah, I DJ'd at a friend's party like 2 weeks ago, or not even, maybe like a week ago after getting back from BrodyCon, and I basically played half of my set from BrodyCon and no one bat an eyelid. It was great.
I occasionally play like other conventions, or there's this thing called BarCon, which is Booze Anime Rock. It's basically the anime convention experience at a bar, and I'll drop Discord and a couple other songs in there too, and people either don't know, are kind of about it, or they're up front singing it with me, which is great because I'm usually out of breath by then. I'm out of shape.
I don't really do non-pony gigs anymore, so I don't really know how to answer that one, sorry.
Yeah, my non-pony gigs, I'm usually like supporting in a band, supporting other people, or I'm in the pit for something, so I'm not really at liberty to choose my own music, so it's kind of not really a question. So.
Yeah, I actually opened my last gig with the Replacer song. People were like, yo, who's this? Like, I've never heard this artist before. You know, what's the deal? And I think it does speak to the fact that music can transcend fandom boundaries, and people will listen to it as music if you don't tell them that it has ponies in it. Yeah.
Also, you should listen to Replacer's music. He's great.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah, I don't tend to do a whole lot of gigging outside of the fandom. Like, when I do, it's just occasionally here and there, so yeah, I haven't really had much of a problem in that regard.
For those of you who have been in the fandom a little bit longer, what have you noticed about the pony music scene that might have changed over the years? Are you calling us old? Yeah.
Well, when I started, or when I found the fandom in 2011, the music scene was pretty live, and there's just lots of big artists around. I noticed there was quite a few small ones, but nowhere near as many as there are today. And like the music scene today, there's so many artists out there that like we get like 200 submissions to Ponies at Dawn every album now, and Alex keeps trying to push it further than 70 songs, and I just can't handle it. But no, there's a lot of really cool music coming out lately as well, as you know, it's different from old school tunes, but I think the quality's definitely risen too. So yeah.
Oh boy. So when it first started out, I noticed it was a lot of, I mean, because there was no framework, there was just a sense of, you know, I just want to make something. We had Not a Clever Pony making this kind of ambient, slow, kind of droning, still very lush material. We had Chain Algorithm, we had Alex S. There was less about like, oh, let's make, you know, the next this, the next that. I want to be the next Tombstone, the next Alex S. This, that, none of that. It's like they weren't so concerned about genres or shows or anything like that. So there was this kind of wild, wild west period for a while. And there was also there wasn't really much of an Equestria Daily at the time, and when there was enough to where each new song could get a listing. Not that it was owed anything like that, so much as just there was enough material moving that slowly at the time to where it worked out. It was interesting to see an attempt at a framework to kind of put all this together. It's like, oh, here's what's new in the fandom, and who do people turn to for news to that regard, or who, sort of who should they go to, and then what do they put that stress on. And I noticed that as concerts became a thing, it became sort of this strange sense of who do we book, what do we do, how do we structure these concerts, because there was one BronyCon where we had Philippou doing like half the set on a piano and half the set just through Ableton Live, and it sort of became this interesting split after that, where it's like, all right, so we have the electronic and we have the acoustic, and we'll split it down the way. Still kind of an emphasis on bangers or very loud, very energetic sets, and I mean, it's just cool that there's been that kind of split or that kind of structure at all, but I also feel like there's a lot of lost potential along the way. And what I will say though is after people got tired of trying to ride coattails or trying to gain, for lack of a better way to put it, horse fame, people started petering out and sort of like, this isn't working for me. Or even folks that did well and like were earnest about it, but then just naturally flew to other things. I think after the hype kind of died down, we started seeing this resurgence in genuine, I want to make this because it's what I want to do. So we've had really great new artists in all these different genres. I'd say within the last year or two, it's been pretty fantastic.
The last two to 3 years.
For sure. That passion is right back, like almost 2011, 2012 levels.
Yes, yeah, pretty big.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, was there any Brony music before like your first like Super Pony Beat one?
Okay, so the understanding is, oh goodness, what's the, I'm blanking right now, but there's an artist that makes hardstyle, Royal Pony. It's believed that Royal Pony had a couple of remixes out possibly in late 2010, however, those videos were deleted, so if they were out first, then it's hard to obviously track for sure, and if they weren't, then it's a little hard to say documented. So the most I can say is the first documented Brony music.
I mean, that's how you know it's a real original Brony music tune, because the video's been deleted, right?
Right. That's true. Except for he was still trying to make some after that. So like, it's not just I quit the band before it starts.
Yeah, Royal's still kicking.
Yeah, he's him and Cosine Pitch Shifters. They're doing.
Project Intensity?
That's the one, thank you. Like, they're playing gigs and they're actually doing really well, like, super good stuff.
You'll be hearing some of that tonight.
Hell yes.
Yeah, pretty much everything that I wanted to say I think has been covered, except in terms of just how I've seen it change. I've seen it go from like quite a few like really tall things, and it's just kind of flattened out. And so like you've got a lot of people that are not getting quite as much views, but there's just so many of them that it's like, it almost seems like now, like, no matter what kind of music you want to listen to, there's someone that's making like a pony version of that music. Yeah. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm 100% with this guy.
Yeah, I'm a young person, so I actually I joined the fandom pretty late, so I wasn't around to experience any of that. So what I've actually experienced it through is like I've been doing a lot of archiving recently, and trying to get that. And yeah, the whole deleted pony songs being like the most old pony songs. That's one of the big things I can see from the early fandom. There's so many songs you can see on Equestria Daily. They've posted about it, but you can never find it. It's just been deleted, and I think that's it's such a shame that's been lost. But there's people around. You have to ask a lot of people, but you can find deleted pony music. It's out there.
Yeah. To bounce off what's already been said, I noticed that back in the early couple years, there was the whole idea of, I'm going to make this song, I'm going to put it onto my YouTube and SoundCloud and whatever, and then I'm going to submit it to the EQD email address and hope that it gets a spotlight post, or if not, maybe a music of the day or something like that. And if it does, then cool, and if it doesn't, then I'll try again. After a while, I think they stopped doing spotlights and that type of stuff, and that kind of became harder, and there was a lot more competition of people trying to do that, and so the quality bar started getting raised. And over the last few years, it's shifted from being, I'm going to put it on my channel, and that, to being, I'm going to submit it to a group album. and all these different albums like Ponies of Dawn. What else is there?
Silent Party, Never Say Nay, State of Sugar.
Yeah. And so
Give me a party.
Yeah.
so it's a lot more collaborative kind of feel nowadays compared to instead of individuals, it feels more like groups.
Actually, can I piggyback off that?
Yep.
What I love about that is, not only does that put musicians, like working with other musicians or alongside that, it also decentralizes it. Instead of everyone looking towards Equestria Daily to which music must we like, which music do we like now, which one is the next this or that, it's, oh, there's this new thing coming out. And instead of musicians just depending on that feature or not, it's like, oh, Equestria Daily hates me, or they're not featuring me, where is it all? It's like, they have several hundreds of submissions. There was a time when staff was like, we have several hundred submissions a day. And it's not to say the EQD didn't pull, this kind of thing or that kind of thing, so much as that's a lot to sort through every day. So what I love is that now these compilations are getting out there and people know where to go for those, or, the musicians are doing their own legwork to market and approach people, because I used to liken making pony music to putting a big red sticker on your track. If just the one or two things has a red sticker, they become more noticeable. If everything has a red sticker, then it needs to start standing out. And that's not to say that putting a red sticker is bad or good, so much as it was no longer a determining factor for if something, got out there. So I feel like now that EQD isn't sort of this de facto judge and jury of which music you will listen to or not. It's really cracked the world open in a really positive way.
Also, just saying, submissions are open for 2 weeks on Ponies of Dawn, so like, if you're a musician, you should definitely submit some stuff. We've already got like 180 submissions, so this one's gonna be pretty big.
I've still got to add 2 more submissions, by the way.
The worst that can happen is they say no and then you try again for the next time.
Yeah, well, you'll get plenty of feedback and stuff on your track as well to try and help you out with the next one, so.
Yeah. We don't bite. The most we'll do is like that Rottweiler thing where we'll just kind of rest our teeth on it, just kind of...
I think it's great because there are a lot of young people in the fandom as well as people still joining. I've met people who joined, after they've watched season 8 or after they've even watched season 9. And for them, they went really in what was known as the golden days of the fandom. Do you guys see the music scene still continuing after Friendship is Magic has kind of come to an end?
Oh yeah, for sure. At the moment, like, there's no sign of, like, at least the musicians that we work with, Ponies of Dawn, and a lot of people in the server, they don't show any sign of stopping, like, making pony music. And it may, like, sort of slowly work out and be specifically pony themed, but, like, I think the passion that's been built for, around the pony music will always be there in their hearts. Yeah.
I'm inclined to agree. I will say that I think with the source material winding down, it's not that it'll die per se. Few fandoms truly die so much as people find other things to get interested in, or they might find that they're more interested in a new show that's coming out. And if I do also see that passion, like I see a lot of people that are like, I want to keep doing this for the foreseeable future. So I think it might wind down a little bit, but it'll take a long time for it to really wheedle out at any level.
Yeah.
Case in point, the TV series Firefly had 1 season and there's still a fandom on it.
Yeah. I mean, Gargoyles, and then, there's all kinds of shows.
Pony music is already dead, and everyone should come with me to Sophia the First.
The Philly Fantasia fandom's looking for new musicians as well. So yeah, Philly Fantasia is going to be where it's at.
I'm surprised you're not, promoting all the furry stuff.
Well, I have stuff to promote. But...
See, I'm an ambassador to bring people back to the weeaboo sort of territories.
Oh no, not the anime.
Yeah.
Oh no. Awesome. But hang on. Just speaking of promo, right? So people talk about like fandom dying and all the music scene. So Ponyville FM, it's the station I'm on. We're staying around. We're diversifying a little bit. Like we're adding like an hour of weed music and that sort of deal. But we're licensed till 2025. So if people are still releasing music, we will keep adding music to our station, and we play pony music 24/7. Maybe 23/7 when the hour of weed music.
So you're just gonna have the Eurobeat, hour.
Well, I mean, Eurobeat's kind of dead in the weeb scene. That's the scary thing. Sorry, you were saying
Eurobeat, it's a really good song.
You're not wrong. Eurobeat by Dr. Love. Yeah, it's good stuff.
That brings up a good point as well, because obviously we the convention scene. Do you see that continuing as well with the music as well, performances?
Well, I'm sure there's still a few cons that I know that are still planning to be around for at least the next 2 years and would like to go for more. If people still keep going to conventions, they're going to keep running them. So I think it's more about how much the fandom wants to invest in going to conventions all the time. But AliCon for sure really don't want to stop anytime soon. And like after this year's, we had an amazing crowd even with BronyCon, and everyone going to the last BronyCon. AliCon was still huge. So I don't see cons winding down that quickly.
Yeah, I think there will be a wind down period as opposed to instead of just it's over, next thing. There will still be a scene, there will still be a fandom, and honestly, if anyone thinks that Brony music is dead, the last few concerts that I played are definitely testaments to the contrary. We are still very much alive and well. What was the chant? We're still here?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You guys want to add anything? No, all good.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah. My next question would be about how you guys feel about other artists or yourselves using the Brony fandom as a launch pad for a career in the music industry. Is that something that you agree with, or something that you'd rather the Brony musicians stay pure to what they're doing?
I mean, if they enjoy making the music, then I don't see any problem with it. Like, it's if you've got you find a crowd that would like the stuff that you're making and you're having fun making the music, even though you might not enjoy the show, I don't see any real problem with it. So, yeah.
I'm kind of two minds on this one. On the one hand, I think that if you are catering to a specific... Okay, I'll try to keep it short because I could go on for a couple days here. Respect the source material and respect your fans. If you find that you're sort of fading out of the fandom, you don't have to do an official, I'm leaving the fandom, I'm not making music anymore. It's like, hey, I'm starting to do stuff like this now. It's all good. And respect the fans that were there for that. Respect the fans that are where you're heading next. There are a lot of musicians that, there's a handful of musicians that originally started genuinely, and then they found, maybe their interest in the show faded, but they still wanted to keep making music. Again, as long as that respect is there, I think that's worthwhile. If you get someone who's like, oh man, horses are stupid, then it's like, yeah, nah, get out.
Yeah.
But as long as you're like, hey, y'all are a big part of where I've been and how I got here, I think that's what's important.
I don't think that people should start making pony music as a way to springboard a music career. Not necessarily for any moral reason, but just because I don't think that's a very good plan anymore.
Yeah.
I think if you're building an audience that's come for a specific thing, to then lead into you doing music that doesn't have that thing anymore, it's not really a great long-term plan. So I think just if you want to make music that has ponies in it because you want to do that, then do that. But I don't know. That makes sense.
I mean, you're saying it's not a good plan anymore. I'm not sure it was ever really a good plan.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just trying to think of artists that have made that transition, and I'm coming up blank. I can't think of anyone who's successfully actually used their Brony fandom as a launchpad for other things, really.
I mean, arguably,
I'm already traced up.
Alex is trying.
It's mostly a lot of electronic musicians that I can think
a lot of the
that.
really early electronic musicians.
Yeah.
Back when, I guess.
Mando Pony's done pretty well outside of fandom.
It's like 3 or 4 artists.
Yeah.
So it's never been a good strategy, I think.
Same, I agree.
I'm not sure if what I'm about to say is accurate, but this is my prediction anyway. I have a feeling that because pop culture and that is becoming, less fringe and more culturally accepted in that, I have a feeling that in the next probably 10, 20 so years that there's going to be a lot more people who do start making mainstream stuff that previously had their training ground and had their early days learning in a fandom, would be at ponies or somewhere else, because the community around that is so good and so helpful to learn how to do things, to learn from other artists. And I know for myself, if I had just been making music on my own without all these other wonderful people, I would be nowhere near as skilled as I am now. And yeah, thank you guys for that. But I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot more artists in the future, in the next generation, that have that kind of background because it's so helpful.
What sort of advice would you give to any, I guess, up-and-coming Brony musician who really wants to get started even this late into the fandom?
Go for it. If you want to try it out, have fun. There's plenty of people around to help you out. There's heaps of tutorials on YouTube to help you get started with music, and if you think it's something you really want to do, then yeah, by all means, just go for it. Yeah.
One of the things that I hear most is like, how do I start? What do I start with? It's like, honestly, find a program or find a few and try their demos. They're usually like 30 days, 60 days, whatever. And there's even really affordable versions or even free programs altogether that you can start with. And, do you want to do electronic? Find some free plugins and software. You want to record, you want to do more rock-oriented stuff? Start learning your instrument. From there, just write what you're passionate about. People are so worried about, starting the wrong way or doing the wrong thing. Forget that. Make what you want, and then figure out where you're going from there. Someone could start in the fandom and they find, hey, I'd rather just do like these instrumentals that are just kind of their own thing. Great. Or someone could start like at Jason. It's like, oh, I really find them happiest doing, fandom material. Like, focus on that. Just worry less about starting the right way, or do I need Serum? Do I need Ableton Live? Doesn't matter. You could be doing like an 8-track recorder. Okay, maybe not 8-track, but like you could be recording on a cassette, like strumming a guitar, and that could be part of the aesthetic. Just do it, and get Nike to sponsor this thing so we don't get sued.
I think that if you're starting now, it's good to keep in mind that you won't, you'll start at a level that's probably beneath what the people that are making music that you're interested are at. That's a really kind of awkward way to say it, but you won't be making the kind of music that you're listening to. And it can be disheartening initially to be like, everyone else is doing really great things and I'm kind of doing something that isn't quite as good. But you just kind of got to realize that everyone goes through that, and everyone has that period where they're not quite as good as where they'd like to be, and you just kind of have to keep working on it, because it's a skill that you develop over time, and you can't get there without practice.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
To bounce off that, there's points when you're developing any skill where you'll have a point where you know in your head what you want to do, and you physically aren't able to do that. And that's a very frustrating time for a lot of people. A lot of people just quit at that point. But doing a lot of work really helps to get through that, because if you don't do the work, you won't get better. So.
Yeah, I'll just add to that, saying you should accept that there is a learning process, that you can spend years or maybe longer just getting better at your craft. I know when I listen to stuff that I made back in 2012, 2013, I can barely listen to it because I can hear all the things that I did wrong. But I mean, at that stage, I was in my production process. That was just what my skill level was, and I couldn't get around that. So you just got to accept that there will be a learning process, and you'll get better with time. The other thing I'd like to add is if you're trying to get into the music scene, I guess, keep an open mind about what sort of music you want to create. Like, maybe you'll start by saying, oh, I want to make this specific genre of EDM or something, and then you come along and there'll be some other sound where you're like, really? But then you start getting into it. It's like, oh, actually, this is a lot of fun. I really like doing this. And if you haven't, if you've closed yourself off, like this is the sort of artist I want to be, you won't be able to discover that. So yeah, just keep an open mind and be willing to try new and different things.
Oh, I guess for me, from a performance perspective, if you're looking to be a stage performer, and if you're looking to not just make music, if you're looking to play music and produce music, or just play music, my biggest advice is just go to every single gig you can, and also don't limit yourself to the sort of gigs you go to. I'm pretty much out clubbing every weekend. I'm at raves every weekend, and sometimes it's when you when you see what you want to be and you look at those people, but then sometimes you see people that you're not really expecting to see, and you'll pick up things from them that you wouldn't have picked up otherwise, because it's just so out of the box, and you can bring that to yourself. So yeah, go to everything and vary what you go to as well.
Awesome.
I guess one more practical thing, all the albums like Ponies of Dawn, State of Sugar, that, they all have Discord servers. So if you are wanting to break into the music scene, just hit one of us up and ask us if we can add you to any of those servers, and I'm sure all of us would be happy to do that. And you can just chat with a whole heap of other musicians there and just ask questions and like, how do I do this, that, and there'll be someone in any of those servers which will be happy to answer your questions.
Awesome. I think we might open it up to Q&A for the audience. If any of you guys have got any questions, it can be for just one of these guys or it can be for all of them. If you do have any questions, feel free to step up to the mic just down the front.
Actually, I have one last thing for for advice. Kind of leading into tomorrow's panel a little bit. By the way, is it cool if I invite everyone here? The panel that I have tomorrow at this time is it's in theory just me, but in practice I want like everyone's insight on that, so y'all are free to join if you want. If you want to play at conventions, it is less important that you have high social numbers and more that you demonstrate that you can actually perform. There are plenty of Brony musicians with very big numbers that will probably never play a con, and that's probably for the best. On the same token, there are people with really low numbers that have demonstrated to conventions that they can perform, that they can get up on stage and not drive people out. And if you have a video showing that you can perform, and that you might be affordable to book, or in my case maybe not so much affordable, you can still get that gig, because there's a million reasons that a con may or may not book you, and some of them might even have to do with you.
Well, that's literally how I started this year. So I played AliCon last year at the Level Latvian Hall, and a video on Twitter reached Lexi, and that's how she knew to find me for BronyCon and AliCon and all that sort of stuff. So.
Yeah, and that's part of how Lav got her
exactly
surprise.
right. Yeah,
it's just like, hey, she's been wanting to do this for fucking years.
It's like, yeah, we're fine with that.
I'm so sorry, but
You're in Australia.
I know, but my brand. Like it's just being able to demonstrate that it's not just I can I make this stuff or I do this. Like being able to demonstrate that you have the skill that they're looking for, which is and you perform. That's a big deal in cons. That saves cons a lot of time. Like that's one thing. It's like, oh yes, they know what to do.
Awesome. Did anybody have any questions that they wanted to ask? If not,
I'm still so sorry.
It's fine. That's so good.
Yeah, go ahead, Noah.
Oh, hold up. Give me 2 seconds in. Alright, go for it.
Play Discord.
Piss off.
I can't play Discord.
Piss off.
What would your favourite Brony songs be?
Oh, I have too many. I literally couldn't list them all. I'll say my favourite at the moment is Superfan from Forever Free Brony. Yeah.
I think at the time, I still have a soft spot for Lower the Moon by Not a Clever Pony, and like some of Alex S's really early stuff, like even the MLP theme remix and Melting Pot of Alcohol. Although I don't know if that one counts, so much as kind of fandom adjacent. I am your host, the Van host.
You guys have favourite songs or not?
I just have too many. I think for today I'm gonna go with Pinky's Brew.
Nice.
Good choice. This is kind of a cop-out because it's an album, not a song, but I'm thinking of Forever Free Brony's Pink Side of the Moon album.
Yeah, that's got different.
That was
that
was like terrific. He covers like so many different styles, and he just incorporated a whole bunch of talented people on that album. I don't know how we would have organised it because I've tried doing that thing and it's a nightmare. Actually, I think it was a nightmare. I've talked to him about it. It's like I don't want to do that again. But yeah, that's just a wonderful album. So.
I think I've got 3 or 4. Okay, so Suski remix of Luna.
Yo!
Because that slaps. Feral Furry Pinkamena Party. Feral Furry Epic Wub Time. And this guy's album, your 2 opera albums are phenomenal.
Third one?
Yeah, I'll second that.
The third one doesn't have the nostalgia factor yet.
Give it time.
It'll get there.
So 2 songs come to mind for me. One's Ponies of Dawn song, Thoughts by That Music Brony.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the sound of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another one's earlier fandom one. Does anyone know Flim Flam Philosophy?
Was it Sinking
Rainbow Dash
Ships?
Presents?
Rainbow Dash.
Yeah, the song Sinking Ships.
Yeah.
Sinking Ships.
Nostalgia.
Yeah, we were listening to that last night in the car. It's great.
Awesome. Well, if nobody's got any other questions, I think we might wrap it up there. Thank you to Falsey, Eurobeat, Brony, Francis Vace, L-Train, Rock Fox, and Evdog. All of these guys will be on stage tonight at Trot On. It's going to be an absolutely epic night. We'll see you guys there.